Alrighty, I just want to offer some clarification, I guess, to some of the assertions that I made. Um, as far as on tate, that is a demonstrative pronoun. That alone is a demonstrative pronoun. The function of a demonstrative pronoun is to distinguish one object from another. So the way it functions grammatically in Matthew 16:18 is it's distinguishing one rock from another rock. So they're not the same rocks when Jesus is saying, um, when he says, I say to you, you are Petros, and but upon um, this Petra, I will build my church. He's distinguishing between the rock that Peter is and the rock that the church is going to be built on. Um, what I said, maybe it was just a hair misunderstood or I didn't clarify it enough, is that the stronger that you translate tate, the demonstrative pronoun, as Syngenes has suggested, I know in one of his works, the stronger that you interpret that or give that, for instance, as this very, as it has been used certainly in other contexts, um, then the stronger the distinction that you have between the two objects. So I'm all for the interpretation of this very, since it does distinguish strongly between the kinds of rocks. On the fathers, clarification, the way I should have stated it. In my studies, my understanding was not that four total fathers ever called Peter the rock in general, but in interpreting Matthew 16:18, that the rock upon which the church is built, and these are my studies based out of 33 fathers that I was able to look at. I made a neat little chart and did my whole little divided them and stuff like that. But from what I saw, Tertullian, Cyprian in the west, and Origen and Firmilian in the east, they understood in Matthew 16:18, they understood Peter to be the rock upon which the church was built. But as I note here, Tertullian says because Peter is the first to open the kingdom to men, and that's from his work on modesty, number 21. Cyprian understood it because Peter is a symbol of the unity representing the bishops of the church. Origen understood it because Peter is a representative of all true believers, and Firmilian as because all bishops possess the chair of Peter. So just from their understandings, even though they say Peter is the rock in Matthew 16:18 upon which the church is built, they don't understand it due because some gift of infallibility or anything like that, but rather, as Tertullian says, or Origen rather, that we all become Peters. We all become rocks exactly like Peter when we too confess our faith in Jesus Christ. Then of those who understood Peter's confession or his faith as the rock in the west, I have here noted Ambrose, and he says that Peter represents all the Christian people. Hilary of Poitiers, John Cassian, Pallidus of Helenopolis, Paul of Emesa, Fulgentius of Rusby. In the east, I have Athanasius, Didymus the Blind, Theodore of Sur, Cyril of Alexandria, Basil the Great, Gregory of Nyssa, Epiphanius, Basil of Seleucia, and Gregory the Great, who was himself a pope, understood Peter's confession or his faith to be the rock. And then finally, again, this is based on 33 fathers that I was able to look at. Christ as the rock. Eusebius, he bases that, as most of them do, on 1 Corinthians 10:4 and 3:11, as well as Ephesians 2:20. Augustine understood Christ as the rock, but also that Peter as a representative of Christian people. And I think I have a quote from Augustine that I read kind of showing that. Jerome, Christ as the rock. John Chrysostom, Cassiodorus, Maximus of Turin, Isidore of Seville, Bede, or Bed, whatever, Doctor of the Church, as well as Augustine and Isidore. In the east, James of Nispus, Euphrates, Ephraim the Syrian, Asterius, Isidore of Pelusium, and John of Damascus. And I have a note here that he also believed that Peter's faith was a rock. This is part of my personal studies that I've done. A little chart that I made. Let me see how close I can get it to make it look kind of cool. Too much light. Aha, there we go. Cool. Based on 33 fathers, and so the percentage that I show here of the 33 that I was able to look at, only 4 of them interpret the rock upon which the church is built as Peter in Matthew 16:18, while 15 interpret Peter's confession or his faith as the rock, and 14 as Christ, the person of Christ as the rock. So the percentages are 12, 45, and 43. Those were my studies. I hope that offers clarification as far as the numbers that I was working with. Certainly, I do know that and granted, certainly that the fathers did call Peter the rock. I mean, that was his name. But what I was trying to be clear on was that in Matthew 16:18, what they understood to be the rock upon which the church is built. I certainly grant that they understood Peter to be a rock within the church, etc. But the rock in Matthew 16:18, again, from what I've seen, only 4 out of 33 understood that. As far as blocked emails, I did look at I did look at the YouTube thingies, and apparently I did, and I think I know what happened. I think when I attempted to subscribe to the videos, I may have hit block, and who knows, maybe that's why I didn't hear from you. I hope you do still have my other email address. If not, I'll send that to you so we can continue our correspondence for sure, and hopefully pick up on Sola Scriptura.